Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, the Brogans are synonymous with Dublin's senior football success, but now two of them have swapped results on the pitch for generating results within organisational teams. James Brogan is the CEO of team experience platform PepTalk, and he joins us now to discuss how both he and his cousin Bernard have joined forces to create a business that already has a presence in the US market. James, we'll be discussing the success that your business PepTalk is enjoying on both sides of the Atlantic, but first, we'd like to hear about your triumphs with the Dublin senior football teams.
Thanks, Karl. Yeah, listen, I suppose I haven't had quite as illustrious career as Alan and Bernard, and obviously Paul would have played for a couple of years as well. But I was lucky enough to be involved from 2010 to 12. Was involved in 2011, obviously, in terms of that breakthrough year. I was lucky to play a very small part in that, but I did see it, I guess, at ground level and saw the importance, I suppose, of culture, behaviours, to success, and I think that was something that Dublin really went after and became very, very strong on. And in the latter years under Jim, I think a lot of people commented on the culture of the team and that kind of sense of camaraderie and cohesion and connection that team had, and certainly some of that was very, very inspirational and educational, I guess, for me in terms of what we're trying to do now with PepTalk.
So PepTalk was co-founded by yourself and your cousin Bernard Brogan. So why did you decide to join forces on this venture, and what skills does Bernard bring to the table?
Yeah, so I suppose myself and Bernard have been in business prior to PepTalk. We ran a marketing and PR company called Legacy, which is still, I suppose, going pretty well. It's based in Dublin. We've 22, 23 staff there. So probably as kind of, obviously we've known each other all our lives in terms of getting into business together. It's nearly 10 years now, and certainly Bernard brings a ton to the table. You know, he's really strong interpersonal skills. He's a glass half full type person, you know, and I think in business that's very, very important. It's very important to have people to go on the journey with, for me. So getting into business with Bernard was as much about acknowledging that doing anything by yourself is tough, and I enjoy doing things with other people. I think that's something that I probably took out of team sport. So I think business, as I say, it's about a team of people going after something together. So I really liked the idea of doing something with him. And I was a solicitor, Bernard was an accountant. We both probably felt or had that entrepreneurial kind of itch to scratch, let's say. And right now I love I actually like the complexity of it. I like the energy and the uncertainty in some ways that business can bring, the ups and the downs, I suppose, and it very much is a roller coaster you're on. But I think that's the exciting piece, you know. No day is quite the same, and I think myself and Bernard very much share that. We share a DNA about kind of pushing ourselves to get better, pushing ourselves on to the next thing.
And how useful have your own profiles been with regard to building this business, and how have you gone about leveraging that?
Yeah, well, I'd love to think that my profile was anything more than just, I obviously have a second name that's recognisable. But yeah, listen, Bernard and obviously Alan, but certainly Bernard, who I've got to work with, I think it's, listen, we're conscious that he has a profile. We're conscious that does provide us with the opportunity to get in front of people. And I think Bernard has done a very good job over time in understanding the value of that and in working with different companies over the years, in understanding the value he can bring, but also I think what he can learn from them in terms of how they interact with customers. So I think even while he was playing, he was acutely aware of, you know, I suppose the commercial side of sport and the learnings he could take from that. But I do think, Karl, at the end of the day, you know, you have to deliver as well. And I think Bernard be the first to acknowledge that. Does it get us in front of people? It does. Is the profile brilliant? Yes. But ultimately, you have to deliver on the other side to back up what you're doing. And I think that's always been obviously the most important part for us is delivering on what we're doing and delivering on the commitments we're making when we're meeting people. So I think that's really what we want the company to stand on its own 2 feet in terms of what it's delivering globally. And we're lucky enough to work with big global customers like PayPal, Global Payments, Verizon. So at the end of the day, the reason we're working with them is not necessarily because of Bernard. We're working with them because of the technology we've built, the great team we have in PepTalk and what they're doing day to day. And ultimately, that's what's going to see us succeed, is the team of people we have around us.
James, provide us with an insight into PepTalk. What services do you provide?
Yeah, so I mean, the core service that PepTalk provides is a technology product. As I say, we talk about this idea of team experience, Karl. So this really is this idea of, in the new world of work, how do we bring teams and leaders together? How do we make it easy for them to build habits and behaviour? So probably right now amongst your listeners, and maybe companies that are running maybe surveys once a quarter, once a year. But the big challenge with surveys is it's very hard to intervene. It's very hard to actually act on the data. So what PepTalk has done with our product is we really zone in on, what are those experiences like from within the team. We get some feedback then, and then we quickly get into action mode. And the system, for example, if the team is feeling a little bit disconnected, if burnout is an issue, our system will actually generate some intervention. So here's some content to consume. Here's some suggestions for your manager to go off and have a conversation potentially with the team as to why certain things are happening. So I think PepTalk's real USP is our ability to kind of turn those insights that we take from the team into actions and then quickly build what we, momentum in the organization. And I think culture is ultimately just behaviours and habits that are happening every week, every day, every hour. But I think organizations are now having to be very intentional about what they do with their people, because the world has changed over the last couple of years. So that's our role really, Karl, enabling sort of simple habits and behaviours to happen on a monthly basis in the organisation.
Talk to us about the science behind the platform.
Yeah, so I suppose we've been lucky enough to work with a number of, Karl is our lead psychologist in the company. Myself and Bernard obviously aren't coming from a psychology background. Our experience of teams and culture has really been more, hands-on on the ground and experience it day to day. So we've worked with both academics, both here in Ireland and lucky enough to actually work with some in the States as well. So as I say, the different elements and characteristics and behaviours that we're looking to encourage, that ultimately is going to be a product of the type of people we work with, Karl. So whether it's wellness, whether it's sleep, whether it's team dynamics, we go out into the global expertise and academia and find partners that can work with us to design pathways and action programs that the employees then can consume on demand within our software.
James, platforms like this are expensive to build, so talk to us about how you funded the business to date.
They certainly require a level of investment to get them up and away, and we were lucky enough, I suppose, in the early stages to get some support from some angel investors. Enterprise Ireland have also been a great backer of ours, and over the last couple of years, we've raised some money from here in Ireland, from the UK. And most recently, we raised €3 million primarily from a Venture Wave is the name of the company. So they're a VC that are based in Ireland, but offices also in the US. So that was a big attraction for us. So yeah, I mean, listen, a technology company with our ambition does require an element of investment to make it happen and bring it to life. But ultimately now we're at a point where we're trying to realise that vision, Karl, and bring this product to the US, and that's where our technology, in terms of its ability to scale, becomes very, very important. So we do feel that the investment we've made, and now with the backing of a venture capital firm that are very much aligned to what we're trying to do, it's a very exciting time for us.
And the business is on growth in the US right now, and you felt it was imperative to have boots on the ground, so you've practically relocated now to New York, haven't you?
Yeah, in the process of, I think if there's one thing in talking to other entrepreneurs that have been on this journey into the US, I don't think you can do it in half measures. I think you need to come. I think you need to understand the nuances of the culture here, because it is different. I think you need to, as you say, be on the ground, both from a business development perspective. We're lucky enough, as I touched on, to have some customers here as well that I've been spending a lot of time with. My family will be joining me over the next number of months as well. So, yeah, from a company perspective, there's a journey we're going on. Personally speaking, obviously, moving to a different country is going to come with its own kind of challenges, and that's going to be an adventure as well. But I think that's exciting as well. But I think coming here, spending time here, and building the business on the ground here is key. And I just think it was the right time, Karl, for us to do that.
So how are you going to build a business in the US?
I'm probably planting the flag, and I'm the first here. But there's a couple of different strategies. Then, so one is expansion into existing, Karl. So as I touched on, we've some existing customers here that there's room to grow into. So that's going to be the first focus. Second, then there will be, our new business, and obviously, as I say, I'm kind of basing myself around the New York region. So we certainly will be focusing a lot on companies there. In terms of our hiring, we will be looking to hire. So already on the lookout for some sales hires on the ground here. And that's been something that, has been a focus to sort of get into different communities and start talking to different networks about the type of, hiring and recruiting over here and the do's and don'ts, I suppose. So I would imagine over the next sort of 12 months, we'll be hiring, upwards of 10 or 15 people between here and probably a few more at our headquarters in Dublin as well. So you do need to invest in a country like this to grow, but at the same time, we're very keen to do that in a very focused and thoughtful way, and making sure that we're building in a manner that's sustainable and is going to work for everyone in the company and all the different stakeholders.
James, have you considered integrating this system with a larger, let's say, workforce management system as a potential route to market?
Yeah, listen, I suppose that's the piece I haven't touched on in terms of our go-to-market here. I touched on expansion, I touched on the direct, but it's a great call, Karl. Indirect channels and strategic partnerships and alliances is something that I think is key. I think it's a key part of how you can kind of grow into the US. As you say, there's established companies here who will no doubt and already expressed some interest in terms of our product and how it can complement what they're already doing. So I think for companies of our scale to try and kind of accelerate our growth, lining ourselves up against the right type of strategic partners and being able to benefit from their knowledge of the markets, two, obviously they're likely to maybe have an increased number of people and sales and marketing resources that we may not have to that same degree. So there's a ton of benefits I think you can get from getting with the right partner. So yeah, I think certainly that will be something that hopefully in a year's time we'll have a number of them implemented and up and away and integrated, as you say, into their ecosystem, and hopefully that'll be another interesting and really strong kind of revenue stream for us.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was James Brogan, the CEO and co-founder of PepTalk, and we wish the team every success as they seek growth stateside. After the break, Thomas and Saoirse Kenny from K&K Windows reveals the secret to the success of this multi-million euro Wexford business. We'll be right back.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.